How's it going, guys? This is Ketchup here once again, and we are in MKX training mode. That can only mean one thing, and that our character overview series is coming back. Now, first things first, before I even get into the character I'm currently playing, I want to explain why we've had such a long break and why we're bringing it back. So first things first, we used to make these all the time. Some of you guys that have been around for a while will know that we did these a lot in conjunction with the other videos that we would make at the time. And we've stopped, and the reason for that was because the patches in MKX would change the variation so significantly that we kind of decided that many times when a patch would hit, our overviews for one of those variations that got adjusted would either be missing vital information that was now possible or became irrelevant because some of the stuff that we went over was no longer a thing. So to kind of risk spreading accidental misinformation, and getting people using variations and then they play the game and are really confused because everything is different, we basically put on hold. We put things on hold and decided that we were going to wait until MKX was in much more of a, what I guess you could call a permanent situation, which brings me on to now, which is fair to assume that the current version of MKX is probably the final version of MK, because Injustice 2 is around the corner, there's been no news on a patch. It just makes sense that the version of MK we're currently on is the version that is here to stay. And because of that, brings me on to my next point. We're bringing this series back, going over the variations and going, right, what is the final version of these characters and variations, so that anyone that doesn't understand how to get started with the variation can watch this video and just get it. Again, it's going to be casual, unprofessional. We're just going to sit here, run over the character, and hopefully you guys learn something. We're starting this off again with Cyber Sub-Zero. The reason for that is because I play this character a ton casually, and I find him really fun. I don't know whether he's competitively that viable, personally, because I think that the matchups he does well in, but yeah, he has got some matchups he does quite well. There are other Triborg counterparts that I think do better and are more reliable, and that's basically just, long story short, my opinion on it. Either way, he is very fun to play, and if you don't know the matchup, Cyber Sub can still destroy you. Kind of like Cyrax as well. Like, they have their problems, and they have some bad matchups. However, if you don't know the matchup, they can still just throw so much stuff at you that you don't know what's going on, and before you know it, the set is over, and the Cyber Sub-Zero player has just beat you. So this video is to go over all of his stuff. He has a ton of moves, a ton of setups, a ton of buttons. Like, he's a very tricky character, very technical, and he's quite hard to play, so excuse my bad execution if I drop anything. However, we're going to get started. We're going to look into his unique normals, which are his neutral jump punch, good range, hard to punish, full combo on hit, and is a mid. This is his best mid by far, and that's basically it. Forward 2, a long range poke. Can be used to splat, so it's used after combos for bomb setups, but it's also a good poke from this range just to chuck something out. You know, if they press a button or whatever, this will hit them. This is a totally legit poke you can use against people. His back 2 is an overhead with a built-in backdash. As you can see, it's actually costing stamina to do this because it has got a built-in backdash. And the reason it costs stamina is you can actually special cancel the back 2. So you can special cancel it into any special. You can do back 2 ice ball, back 2 bomb, back 2 slide, back 2 drone, I think, even. If you want to do that, there's no real point, but you can do it. But you get the idea. Back to meter burn freeze, for example, very, very dangerous. But it's a good way to just put distance between you and your opponent while still covering your bases with a projectile to keep them from chasing you down. Another unique string he's got is 2-1-2, hard knockdown, and when you drone it, it can be special cancelled, but I'll show you that later on. But this is not the most useful string, I will admit. It's a thing, but you're not really going to be using it that much. So that's his basic buttons and his normals. We're now going to go over his special moves and some basic applications for those. First thing first, back forward 1 is his ice ball. It functions exactly as you expect. It's a high. The meter burn version is also a high, so you cannot make it a mid under any circumstances. However, you can combo into this for sort of traditional combos, combo into whatever you want. As you get the idea, you know, it's a very basic stun that just functions the way you would expect it to. You can combo into certain strings. Forward 1-3 ice ball will work. 1-1-1 ice ball works. Back 3 ice ball works at close range only, too far away and it won't combo. And back 1 ice ball will work, but only if the opponent is crouching. So if he's ducking and then I do back 1 ice ball, he'll get frozen. You know, as you can see, he can get ice ball off his low and his overhead, so it's something to keep in mind. He can combo off his low and his overhead. Meter burn freeze will combo much more reliably because it's significantly faster and it combos into anything. It's safer as well. It's only -9, which means that is a safer option if you're a little bit worried about not hit confirming. You can just do meter burn freeze, and it's, you know, it's safer on block. -9 with a lot of pushback is basically safe. Not many characters can punish that. But the meter burn freeze starts up really quickly and is a beam. However, if you get hit right as this comes out, the beam doesn't crush anything, it doesn't stop projectiles. If you get hit right as you use this, the beam will disappear and you will waste a bar. But that doesn't mean it's not an amazing tool from this distance to just keep someone in check. People will always jump into this, they'll run into it, they'll press a button, you can trade with it. And from this distance, bear in mind, if I set him to stand, from this distance, if I land a freeze anywhere, you can whiff a slide to close in the space and get a full combo anywhere on the screen. So as you can see here, bam, full combo, hard knockdown, pressure, whatever you want to do, it's possible. And that brings me on to my next special move, which is the slide. Down back 4, it's a traditional slide, just like Reptiles, just like Sub-Zeros. This is a hard knockdown on hit though, and it's very fast, low profiles a lot of things, goes under projectiles on reaction, and the meter burn version has 2 hits of armor and does increase damage. This is used after combos because it just goes hand in hand with just how much corner carry this character has. As you can see now, we're in the corner and the slide's a hard knockdown, so I have momentum anyway. But it's also a mobility tool, so if we're this far away, whiff a slide from full screen, as long as they're not going to block it, you can actually whiff the slide, and now I'm full screen to point blank without needing to use any stamina. Bear in mind, it's really unsafe on block. Meter burn slide is also really unsafe on block, so you can't just throw it out. You've got to be careful, because it is death on block. But other than that, really, really good tool. I mean, there are certain setups that you can do with this character that, you know, you actually whiff the slide mid-combo. I'm actually going to turn him off block real quick. There are certain, like, you know, setups that you can do that involve, like, whiffing the slide, like that. We got a full combo off that, which is cool. And that's just because we whiffed the slide, right? And it gives you a nice amount of damage. I think this setup in particular off NJP, like, kind of going off tangent for a second, but this does, like, 50%, right? That's like a meterless 50% until I spent the final bar on the slide. And that's just because we whiff the slide to close in space, and it's actually quite a common thing to do with Cyber Sub-Zero is to whiff slide to get stuff like that. But that's the basics of that. The next special we're going to talk about is the dive kick. In the air, down 3 mid-air we'll do a close dive kick, and down 4 we'll do a far dive kick. It has a multitude of different reasons that you're going to use the dive kick. It's just like MK9, very unsafe on blocks. You got to be careful. Again, I see a lot of Cyber Sub-Zero players just throw out slides and dive kicks. It's not the right way to play him. You just get destroyed. It's one single 7% damage hit in the neutral, compared to the full combo you're going to take if they block it. So be careful, it's not something to just use in the neutral, unless you're trying to close in space. It is a mobility tool. As you can see how much distance I can cover with that. I'm now point blank for no stamina, so it does serve mobility just like the slide. They kind of go hand in hand with how unpredictable you can always be with this character, because you can just whiff dive kicks and then, you know, do whatever you want. Makes him kind of weird to fight, but you got to be careful. Now, you can end combos in it because the meter burn version does increase damage. This is a nice way to end it if you've droned, but again, I'll talk about it in a second. But the main use of dive kick you're going to be using most of the time is in combos. Because you can only do a dive kick while airborne, there are certain strings you can do with Cyber Sub-Zero that will put him airborne, allow you to whiff a slide and follow up with something else. So the most easy thing is forward 4-3 into a whiffed far dive kick into forward 2. This is like really easy. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but just give the idea. I'm now airborne, which lets me whiff the slide, and that is what lets you do that. It's more prominent in the corner, but you can do it mid-screen. But the big thing you're going to be doing is whiffing a back 3 up 4 into far dive kick mid-screen or close dive kick in the corner. This is because Cyber Sub-Zero will by far use this one particular string more than any other variation, because you can whiff that dive kick and go for a combo afterwards. So you would use that when it's guaranteed. It's really unsafe, I know, so you use it as a punish, and then you have no risk using that, so that's why you would do it. Or outright, you can just punish someone with back 3 up 4, and it allows you to get the next special I'm going to talk about, which is this Ice Bomb. It's down forward 2 for a far Ice Bomb, down 2 for a mid, and down back 2 for a close Ice Bomb. It functions the same way as Cyrax's in terms of like fuse time, but this time round it does stun the opponent, but it puts them airborne, so you've got to be really careful. You can't do a grounded combo. Your combo kind of just has to match the fact that the opponent is now airborne, and your combo kind of needs to follow suit with that. Just go for whatever, really. That's like a basic combo that, you know, 24% off a One bomb mid-screen isn't bad at all, and the combo has to be different because they're now airborne. You can keep things really easy and just do like, you know, forward 4-3, whiff dive kick, forward 2. Again, as you can see, that was like very easy, minimal effort to get something like that. But this is an interesting special because there's a couple of different things to factor in with the ice bomb. It's a low, which means you can set this up overhead low in setups, just the way Cyrax can, the same kind of thing. But there is one crucial difference with the ice bomb, is that when the opponent is stunned, you are not able to shoot a bomb after the stun has landed. It doesn't work. It only works if they're splat. So for example, if the opponent has been splatted, now you can do a bomb because the combo is technically over even though they're still on the ground. It is the only time you can combo into bomb. So for the setups that we're going to talk about later, that is how you do it. Or if you want to set up into a bomb mid-screen or anywhere else, you've got to make sure that you're not using the stun and you're getting the bomb elsewhere. As you can see, if I try and end in a bomb now, it's not going to work. However, if I punish an opponent with back 3 up 4 outright, there's no ice here. So I can actually get a bomb, set up whatever I want, and that's actually going to work because the opponent is stunned through other means. They're hit through back 3 up 4. No stun is being used. If they don't tech roll, that's going to be a thing. Mix up. As you can see, you know, we can do whatever. That's really good damage. Hard knockdown on the slide. It's still my turn, and the only thing I have to worry about is potential wake-up attack. So if you're going to combo into a bomb, you just got to make sure that you're not freezing them first. It's a very important thing to bear in mind, is that you're not freezing them, because you're missing all this setup. However, you can go for a freeze if you just want corner carry, and that's why you would do it. But the other thing about the bomb is that the meter burn version creates an ice puddle. You can combo them into this, and it works. Looks really cool. Isn't particularly practical. You're probably not going to be using it a whole lot because, I mean, they're both lows. Meter burn and regular bomb are still both low, and they both stun. So the payout and the result is actually going to be quite similar. So you're not really going to find yourself using this very much. I mean, this is just a particular setup because, you know, I mean, you can throw them into this as well, you know, for the same thing. And that is going to give you a full combo if you throw them into it. Which is a cool thing that you can do. But again, it's not a huge amount of damage for the fact that you've spent a bar. 26% for a bar is not the greatest thing. But that's one of the main things you can do. You know, knock them into it. Off this, for example, there's loads of gravity already, so you just kind of have to like reset. Go for a reset situation instead, which again is viable, but not a huge amount of damage. And if they block it, then it's not a great situation to be in. But that's the basics of his bomb. The final move we're going to talk about is his drone. Down 3 will create a drone. You can have a maximum of 3 drones. And when you meter burn, you'll actually create 3 drones at once. The drone is complicated because it buffs so many different moves, but we're going to go over them one by one. You can buff regular ice ball, meter burn ice ball, meter burn dive kick, regular bomb, meter burn bomb. You can buff all of these. You can buff his back 2. You can buff his 2-1-2. Hard knockdown by itself cannot be special cancelled. If you drone 2-1-2, you can special cancel. Let me give it a go, actually. There you go. You can special cancel 2-1-2. Not amazingly useful, but you can do it. And, you know, it's one of those things that the things that you can drone, they all are designed to just do increased damage. Only a couple of them give you increased utility, like the back 2 being a little bit quicker, and the 2-1-2 being special cancelable. That is definitely utility. Everything else will be buffed to do increased damage. If I stun him now, as you can see, that's ticking damage over time, and the regular version doesn't do any damage. So you can see why droning the ice ball will just give you a nice little chunk of combo damage, because otherwise it doesn't do any damage unless you drone it. Droning things is very simple. The button that you press to drone the attack, you simply, after you've pressed the button, you just keep it held down and it will drone it. And it's as simple as that. So, you know, it gives you increased damage off combos. For example, you know, we're going to drone the ice ball. And now we're going to drone that. In the corner that would have worked, but we would have spent 2 drones and we would have got about 32%. I mean, that's not practical. You can get some corner stuff for quite big damage involving the drones, but you know, it's because we've droned the ice ball, we've droned a bomb in a setup, or we've cashed out with a droned meter burn dive kick for the increased damage. Drones will give Cyber Sub more damage. And the final thing I'm going to talk about this is that you do, yes, have time to go for a drone after a stun and follow up the combo anyway. Because of that, it doesn't do much to the combo damage at all. I believe sometimes there can be elements of scaling, But because you have enough time to go for a drone into a combo, there is no reason you wouldn't learn how to just do it all quickly and then get the drone beforehand. It does nothing to your damage. There's no reason to not just give yourself that drone, because the drone's going to be useful after a combo. You know, let's say I've got a drone here. Let's say we've got, I don't know, go for that. We now drone the bomb, and now we've got a setup. And that bomb that just exploded, it did increase damage. So, you know, even if it's like you're giving yourself the drone just for the increased utility and damage after the combo that I've landed, right? That's totally a thing that you can do. And then it's just going to help you with whatever you want to do next. But that's basically the basics of a specials. We're going to talk about some combos and some setups. Now, this is where things get a little bit fiddly. If I drop it a couple of times, it's whatever. But hopefully I can demonstrate a couple. So mid-screen, ultimately as Cyber Sub-Zero, you're going to want to spend the whole time either littering the screen with projectiles like this, because you can machine gun these projectiles on the screen. Any single one of them will stun the opponent. And that's actually what you want. You're not going to zone, quote-unquote, with Cyber Sub-Zero. You're going to be looking to trade. The second you land a single projectile, you're whiffing that slide, you're getting full screen to point blank, and now you're getting full combo into corner carry. So let's say I've landed, you know, I'm this far away, and I've landed a stun. I've now done a bunch of corner carry. He's in the corner, and now I've got the advantage because I got a hard knockdown on that slide. You'll basically be in that situation quite a lot because, you know, ultimately that's where you want the opponent to be, in the corner. But we're going to talk about some mid-screen stuff. First things first, back 1, 2, 4, ignore this string entirely. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, I get it. You can meter burn it, you can stun them. Yeah, that's cool. However, this is really unsafe, but it comes off as back 1 overhead. What also comes off as overhead and costs a bar? Back 1 ice ball. Meter burn ice ball. It's -9 with pushback, more pushback than back 1, 2, 4, and it's safer on block, gives you the same damage, and it still costs a bar. There is no reason you would ever use this, because back 1 meter burn ice is just better in every way. There is no reason off an overhead you would use that string. Just do meter burn ice ball. It's much safer, and you're going to thank yourself for it later when you're not getting punished for going for the overhead. That's first things first, but ultimately, as I said, you want to push them into the corner, but mid-screen, we do have a couple of different options. The big thing you can do with Cyber Sub is ending a combo in back 3, down 4, up 3. This is a hard knockdown across all Triborg variations. You may notice Sonic Fox does this a lot with Sector. If he doesn't want to get the hard knockdown off Missile, he'll end the combo in this and get a hard knockdown mid-screen for decent damage and set up afterwards. That's a big thing he does with Sector. Cyber Sub can do the exact same thing. So you can combo into this, for example. Let's say I don't have enough screen to corner carry. We're just going to end the combo in this instead. And now I've got decent damage, overhead, bam, I'm point blank, and I can go for my next mix-up. So that's something you can definitely do. Because it's a hard knockdown, you can actually, that's kind of, yeah, you can do the NGP, but it's kind of tricky, but I'm just not going to do it. But technically, you can actually loop this as well. So you can end in this, overhead, bam. You get the idea. You can actually loop this because it's hard knockdown. So it's if the opponent has no bar, this is definitely something that you could technically do. So you get the idea of what you can do mid-screen. And you can do a couple of swaggy things as well, I think. And that involves using the bomb outside of a freeze. So if you land like a neutral jump punch, for example, you can do something like that. If they don't tech roll, that works. So you know, do like a neutral jump. Let's just do this. This works, but I'm mistiming it because I'm bad. That works. Nice damage. That's like a 50% neutral jump punch because they didn't tech roll. Ultimately, everyone should be tech rolling versus Cyber Sub-Zero, but if they don't, they kind of have to hold that bomb mix-up. But you can actually get it off this string as well. Just a little bit trickier. But again, possible. That's 1 bar again. Decent damage, looks swaggy, involves all of the things I talked about, whiffing dive kicks for combos, whiffing slides to close in space, not using the freeze so that you can get the bomb. All these setups kind of build into a higher level of Cyber Sub setup, and it gives you mid-screen damage and mid-screen potential if there's no way you can get them in the corner. But that's the basics of it, right, is that mid-screen, either back 3, down 4, up 3, or you can also end a combo in slide. That's hard knockdown as well. Forward dash, pressure. Hard knockdown still works. So ending things in slide also is an option you have. So that's about 3 different options that you've got mid-screen, but ultimately you do want to get them in the corner. And, you know, any combo you do with Cyber Sub, even the basic combos like this, these will do nice damage and put them in the corner. I mean, the combo wasn't even finished, and he was already had his back to the wall when we were mid-screen away. Just to show you how much corner carry this character has, I'm going to start a combo here, land a freeze. Oops, I'm going to do it again. Let's go. Resets, corner. That's what we want. We're going to spend the rest of the video in the corner, so we may as well reset. Let's say, land a stun. We just went 3/4 of the screen on one combo, you know. I touch him one more time, and then we're now in the corner, coast to coast. And then here we go. We can start mixing, do whatever. You can do whatever you want. You're not supposed to go for the drone off that one, but I just muscle memoried it. But you get the idea. So he has a ton of corner carry. And when they're in the corner, this is where Cyber Sub wants to be. And because of that, you have a whole bunch of different options. I'm going to try not to overcomplicate, but ultimately, everything is going to revolve off your bomb. Your bomb is a low and has a massive hitbox. It's very hard to guarantee a lot of things with Cyber Sub, because jumping out of things with him is a very attractive option, because you have to end things in either forward 2, a second NJP, or like a neutral jump kick or something. This is how you get the splat into bomb with him, but because of that, if you mistime it or are slightly late, you're still going to get the splat, you're still going to get the bomb, but it's not always easy to do, like, you know, a meaty back 3 down 4, because you'll find that some people might be jumping out. So if you try and combo into something like this, you're going to try and just, you know, whiff a couple of dive kicks, splat, this. This is like the easiest, most traditional setup. I'll do it again real quick because I messed up the back 3, but I'm sure you get the idea. This is the most traditional sort of setup that he's got, because it is a very hard to blockable thing. You can learn it. It's a set block, so if you're experienced against Cyrax or Cyber Sub, the bomb into back 3 down 4 is very easy to block. But most people don't block this. They haven't. Since day one, they haven't blocked that, so it's just part of it. That's one of the things you can do, but again, you've got to be really careful on the timing, because if you mistime it or are slow, they can actually jump out and punish you for dedicating to it. So there are certain other things you can go that are a little bit safer. For example, you've got like a pseudo 50-50 off this. Same situation, low bomb, meaty 2-1, because that's faster. That goes into either 3 or slide. The reason that's a pseudo 50-50 is because if they get hit, if they block the overhead, it's not going to freeze them. But if they don't block the overhead, if they stand up, sorry, because they're expecting an overhead, you can do this. Oops, let me do it again. If you do 2-1 slide, you can actually combo it. And then you can do whatever. You can actually loop it back to back. So it's an element of a 50-50. The low slide or overhead is very, very, very fuzzyable. But the slide's not punishable because there's a bomb about to go off, so that you're not going to get punished, because they'll get frozen letting go of block. So it's just taking into account that he's got a bomb that is a low. And how are they going to try and escape? You know, he's even got some really funky setups where if you hit the opponent, and everyone tries to jump out. Like, they try and jump out, you do something like this. If they jump, meet them in the air with a kick, and then they get frozen like that off the bomb. And this works, and it's quite reliable, but you can basically combo them with something like this, end it in slide, meet them, dedicate to a close bomb, wait, slide, and this actually works, you know, and it looks really cool, but it actually does massive damage too. Like, if we use like the drone, and I think the opponent's going to if I think the opponent's going to jump out of this, we'll just do it. That's a huge chunk of damage, you know, just because I expected them to jump out. When they see the bomb, they always jump. Like, people jump all the time. Like, it's one of the most common things people actually do about this. So meeting them in the air with a jump kick, it's kind of risky to a degree, but it works. And it is a thing. It's just a read-based thing, more so than it is a guaranteed thing. It kind of brings me back to the why I think that other Triborg variations have much more guaranteed pressure or guaranteed mix. Cyber Subs isn't guaranteed, but it still does great damage. You just need to read them first. This is just some really basic corner stuff that I went over, but it can all be looped, right? That's the big thing, is that so long as you're ending your combos in forward 2 or slide, you can keep the pressure up. So let's say I've caught someone with the combo. I end it in this. Not that, because I'm bad. End it in splat. Bomb. Catch them with a mix. Splat. Bomb. Catch them with the mix. catch them, hard knockdown off the slide, mix them again, catch them jumping, dedicate. And then you get the idea. Like, that was over a life bar of damage already. So the idea is that he can still loop everything. It just has to come from splats or hard knockdowns into predicting how they're going to try and jump out. It's not all the easiest to do. I've got a lot of muscle memory with this character at this point. That's why I can do it. It is quite tricky. He's technical. He takes a lot of work. But he's very fun when you get the hang of him. Now, I've probably missed something, because he has so much stuff. I probably missed something. But this is a base of what he can do. And, you know, my idea was just show you what is this character in like 20 minutes or something. That was my goal. Hopefully I've been able to do that for you guys. Hopefully I've shed some light on what this variation is like. And hopefully you enjoyed it. You know, I enjoy working on these videos, refreshing my memory, getting some of that training mode action. It's a very fun game to do combos in and just press buttons in. So it's nice to get these training videos done again. Please tell me if you enjoyed this, if you found it useful in any way, or what variations that you know we play that we might not have done yet would you like to see as well. That's a big one. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of this series. Plenty of Mortal Kombat where that came from. And I'll see you all next time. Take care.